Those are the scenes here. The crowd baying for the referee to blow the final whistle. How Nigel Clark can hear, indeed he can't. Nigel Meek, rather, can't hear the call. Won by Emyr Lewis. That's the line-out takedown. The next move is for Jones and Jenkins to get it away. That's a huge kick. Just listen to the roar, and that's just for a touch kick.
Superb play by Wales. Emyr Lewis winning the line-out. Robert Jones, Neil Jenkins, and a lovely kick by Neil Jenkins.
That's it! Joel Dumer, just watch the scenes. Just watch Ian Evans. The most amazing, amazing result. Wales 10, England 9.
With scenes such as those at the end of a one-point win, the mind boggles at what might happen with future success. Scenes of certain emotion off the field at the end of it all, and Brynmore, no little emotion from the players on the field either.
No, not at all. I mean, it was a privilege to witness that performance today, Lynn. It was proud to be Welsh again, although we've seen some spirited performances in the last 12 months since Alan Davies has taken charge. Today was different. You felt that we'd actually arrived. The recovery is back. It's not on the road, it's back. And I felt proud and privileged to witness that performance. I mean, the defence was awesome. And it wasn't sort of just heart committed defence. It was about control, discipline. And that was evident right through the side. It was quite superb.
I almost feel guilty in wanting to analyse the whole thing, because it was a great occasion all through. But let's pinpoint the odd. You said defence. Let's start with that, and especially in midfield and the back row.
Well, so Alan Davies has maintained that his criteria for success is defence, and we saw that develop very much around Neil Jenkins, Mike Hall and Scott Gibbs. They were quite magnificent, I thought. They lead the defence. They hold that line of defence. They control it. They communicate. And they put the pressure on Carling and Rob Andrew, and they were making mistakes. We managed to cross the game line without possession at times because we were taking the tackle line beyond the game line, and those three were responsible for that. Quite brilliant.
And the back row?
The back row did very well. I mean, they were all over the place, very committed, 110%. Perhaps without wanting to sound picky, they let us down a little bit as far as defending from set pieces were concerned, because Dewi Morris made a few too many breaks to our liking during the course of the game. But Jenny, the back row, there was a better balance. Webster got out wide, made tackles out wide, and because of that, he was 10 times more effective. Again, very, very good.
Alan Davies has said a great deal about giving the players the responsibility, and I know for a fact that Gareth Llewellyn was handed the responsibility of analysing the England line-out following the French match. Now, here's a man that must have learned something from that, and a man who grew from strength to strength as the game progressed.
Well, we know that Alan Davies is involved in management consultancy, and we see why now, because when you actually ask somebody to take on the responsibility of actually looking on weaknesses, there's no better man to develop them, perhaps, than Gareth Llewellyn, having been handed that responsibility. And his variety of standing in the line-out and how effective it was, again, made a tremendous contribution to the success today. He won crucial line-out, especially towards the end of that second half when we were mostly under pressure. And that allowed Robert Jones and Neil Jenkins to clear the lines.
And the spoiling that was done by both he and Copsey and the others as well, which made sure that England had no real good ball in which to use.
No, that's right, and we saw them being anxious, especially late in the game, making mistakes. Their judgment was poor. There was a lack of urgency in their play. I think that was, if you like, affected on them by the pressure the Welsh were able to impose on them in all parts of the field.
Other part of the pressure they were under was from the height of the kicks that Neil Jenkins was putting in.
Well, that's right. There was a lot of talk about putting pressure on Webb today, and that should have been the case because he has looked fallible under the high ball. But Neil Jenkins' kicks were so high that it was allowing players to get underneath, and the pressure was such then that it was almost impossible to absorb it, and why Wales were able to create and keep the English pack turning all the time and just kept the pressure on. It was a super tactic. I don't think Neil Jenkins passed very much. It was obvious that they planned this route, but he varied the high kick as well. He kicked across the face of the post at times, but they were high enough to be able to get underneath them, and that was the crucial factor.
There was a period late in the first half where I felt that perhaps England might run wild, but it didn't quite come off.
They looked very effective in that last quarter of an hour, but the try, the captain's try. They say that you can't lead a side from the wing, but I mean, if you can lead by example like that, we're all happy, aren't we? But Emyr Lewis almost breaking out of defence, and then the kick. I don't like to see a forward kick, but it was such a kick. It was so accurate that it worked out. I mean, and they say that Under was a pilot, but I wouldn't have thought so. The way he actually sort of didn't seem to want to move on the ball, and Webb was waiting for him to react, and he was waiting for Webb to react. But in that time, Ian was up there like a flash and took the opportunity superbly. And that was the turning point, because England looked to be psychologically gaining advantage at the end of that first half. But the try just turned it, and that was enough.
It's just to celebrate, obviously.
Oh, it's a time to celebrate. I mean, us as analysts, you know, I mean, we sometimes quarrel with the players because we've been a little bit too harsh. I mean, it's a pleasure to be able to say a fantastic effort, boys. I mean, you made us all proud, and I think that is more important than anything.
Well, Brimall Williams and Lynn Davis was also the commentary team at Cardiff Arms Park. Now, Bob and Alan are with us today. Bob, many congratulations.
Thanks,
describe to us some of the scenes of jubilation after that match.
Well, it was a special day, of course, for us, Alan, and it was pretty much an emotional time for us all. We had a great hour together in the changing rooms there. Everyone was not a dry eye in the house, as it were, but a magic 24 hours, really, and very, very sweet feeling.
How did the England boys take that defeat?
Well, magnificent, actually, and due respect to them, they actually handled the disappointment splendidly well, and both at the dinner and the after-match function, they mixed very well with the lads and put a very, very brave face on what was obviously a black day for them.
Do you feel a sense of relief now, or was it just really a feeling of achievement that you knew you could actually beat England?
Certainly a relief after the last quarter. As you can see, I've aged considerably over that period. But yeah, I think there was an element of relief about it. But I think realistically, going into the game, the fellas and the team in particular had highlighted weaknesses in their side that we were confident we could exploit, and obviously on the day we did.
Alan, you held this team meeting after the match. How was that conducted?
Well, we started our debriefs after the game, after the victory in Ireland last year. Having, you know, you can always hang your coat on a victory, and we did the same thing this time. Bob stands up and puts everybody in order, and we really throw out all the negatives about the game, because obviously the positives, if you win, are so obvious, but we throw out all the negatives off the field first, all the things we can improve off the field, and then the tactical things on the field, and that gives us a platform to improve.
What pleased you most? What factors contributed most to that win then?
I never cease to be astounded by the commitment and the enthusiasm of the players. I think it throws a great responsibility on us off the field to provide them with every bit of organisation, technical expertise, coaching, psychological skills, whatever you want to call it. They deserve it because of their commitment, and of course the game was won just on enthusiasm and commitment, really, I think, at the end of the day, because you could see how many tackles we put in and how effectively we stopped what should have been a fairly clear England victory.
Bob mentioned weaknesses there. Where were those weaknesses in that England team that you felt, you know, were?
Well, they are obviously trying to rebuild the side, and they're rejigging areas like the back row. The players took the videos away last week and came back with their own report in their own particular groups, which took the pressure off us, really, rather than sort of lecturing them. And they said there's nothing to fear. If they were wearing the shirts of rival clubs on Saturday, we wouldn't be too worried about it. And areas like the back row, where they're obviously trying to, you know, reblend a unit, their halfbacks didn't appear to be doing that well. And of course, particularly with Bob's experience in the line-out, he really provided the confidence that was necessary for Tony Cops and Gareth Llewellyn that we could win a fair share of our own ball, and certainly theirs. And the statistics go to prove we more or less cleaned them out for apparent giants in the line-out.
Big day for the new caps, Bob. How did they perform?
Particularly well. Obviously, we have an area of or a bit of room for improvement at the scrummage, but outside of that, I thought the boys did certainly bring an air of enthusiasm and freshness to the side. Obviously disappointed we were to lose the players we lost, and I know they'll be feeling particularly disappointed, but they did certainly bring a good edge to the side.